Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I know the lighting isn't great right now, but I'm too lazy to get my ring light again. I just wanted to quickly start this reading vlog of Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, a book that I will probably start reading tomorrow. I'm very excited. This is my last reading vlog that I have to start and finish in 2023, so we do have a couple of days left, but this book is also very long, so we'll see how it goes. I have no idea what the book is about, but I have heard about Brandon Sanderson so much, so I wanted to start somewhere, and I had decided that Elantris would be the place. So we see how it goes. I'll definitely have a more proper update once I have started the book. And the way this works is that I will update you when I'm a quarter of the way into the book, when I'm halfway through, when I'm 3/4 into the book, and when I have finished it. So you can come along on this journey with me if you want to. I have done this for a couple of books this year already, such as Passing by Nella Larson or Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And we also had Virginia Woolf with Mrs. Dalloway. And then White is for Witching by Helen Oyeyemi. So if you're interested in any of those, you will find them on my channel as well. But now let's get reading.
I don't like either option, so I just try to keep myself in one piece.
So it's time for an update, and I wanted to do one that is a little bit less awkward than this angle, but the cat she just wasn't prepared to let me do my thing any longer. So we have to do it this way. But I'm now 25% through Elantris, and so I want to give you a little bit of a synopsis, I guess, because I had no idea what this book was about. And I must say, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm really, really enjoying it so far. The first quarter was definitely a great setup, and I'm intrigued to see where the story progresses from here. So basically, we have three perspectives that we're following so far, and I think throughout the whole book. And the chapters always have the same order, so we go through them, in the same order again and again and again. So the first one is the crown prince of this country that we're looking at. I did listen to the graphic audiobook for a while to kind of get acquainted with the names, but I'm really bad at that, so I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything. But I think his name is something like Raoden, and he wakes up in the morning, that's where we start off, and he has this mysterious illness. So basically in this world there was a city called Elantris, and the people who lived there were called Elantrians, and they were godlike creatures, but they would always kind of be born from a normal human. So you could wake up one morning and suddenly be an Elantrian, basically. And then 10 years before we start the story, the city of Elantris has been destroyed, and there is this mysterious condition that all of the Elantrians now have, where they're basically dead but not really. So we have this kind of zombie state in a way. And the weird thing that we learn about this is that because they're dead, their bodies don't heal anymore. So if they get a wound, they will just have that forever and ever, and they will feel this pain forever and ever. And the thing is that this mysterious condition didn't stop people from turning into Elantrians. And so that is what happens with Raoden at the beginning of the book. He turns into an Elantrian. and therefore is exiled into the old city of Elantris, where all of these people now have to exist, and it's a very gross place. It's falling apart, and the people there are suffering because they have these pains that never go away. They just accumulate until your brain just can't handle the pain anymore, basically. So, as someone with chronic migraines, this is quite the scary setup for me personally, but I found it so intriguing. That first chapter where we learn all of this and where we get to go into Elantris for the first time, it was just so fascinating. I ate it up. I really loved it. So then we switch perspectives to a woman called Serene, and she was supposed to marry Raoden, but they have never met. They just spoke on something like a video call. They have these like weird globes that can be used basically like Zoom, but they also have their own conscience. I think they're called seance or something like that. So they have spoken before, but they've never met. And when Serene gets to this city, to this new kingdom, to meet her fiance for the first time, she learns that he's dead. So nobody tells her that he turned into an Elantrian because they want to keep that quiet. They just say that he passed away from a mysterious illness. But the wedding contract was done in a way that she is still married to him, even though he has passed away. So now she is the princess of this new country, and she is trying to figure out whether her fiance really died of that illness because she suspects something else happened. I also really like her perspective. I think that she is a very manipulative person, and I love that. She's definitely trying to make things work for her. So we'll see how that goes. And then lastly, we have a character who is a priest from a different country, and he is tasked with converting this country that everything is set in, that Elantris is built in, basically. He's supposed to convert this whole country within 3 months, and if he doesn't do it, his country will simply invade and basically kill everyone. So he is kind of an enemy character because he is working kind of against what our other characters are working towards, but he's still not really the bad guy because his success will basically stop a violent invasion. So he's also trying to achieve something good in a way, just in a very twisted way, I would say. So his point of view is also interesting, and I do like religion in my books, like discussions about religion and, all of that. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes, but so far his chapters have been my least favorite. I think Raoden's chapters the most. And yeah, so that's the basic setup of the book. This is probably already quite a long little clip, so I'm not gonna say too much else, I think, apart from that I'm really liking it. I am very intrigued to see where it goes. Also, I think my favorite character is the guy that Raoden meets in Elantris. I think his name is Galadon, and even though some of his portrayal is a little bit problematic, I still really like him, and he reminds me of my favorite character in the Broken Earth trilogy, Alabaster. They are very different, but there is a vibe that I'm getting that kind of reminds me of him. So that is definitely my favorite character by far right now. So yeah, I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know how it's going when I'm halfway through, and we'll see. Maybe this will be a huge success of reading for my end of the year. This is going to be a very ugly update, and that's the reason for it, just so you know. Those are my legs. This is a very large cat. I can't move. So I'm now halfway through Elantris, and I thought I'd give you a quick update. I don't really have a lot to say, I think. I'm still very much enjoying it, and it is very entertaining, and I would highly recommend the graphic audiobook. I fell a bit behind yesterday because I went to the cinema to watch Wonka with a friend, and so I didn't quite read enough pages to finish this book in time for the new year. We'll see. So I listened to a little bit more of the graphic audiobook while I was cleaning this morning to make up for it, and it's really good. It's really fun. It's really cool. I think you have to get used to it a little bit. Switching from a normal audiobook to the graphic one just took a couple of minutes for my brain to adjust, but I think it fits the story really well whenever I do listen to it. And yeah, if you're interested in trying one, why not this one? It's really good. The German Audible has it for free right now, so if you have been debating getting to it, it would be a good opportunity, I guess. So for the story, I'm still really enjoying it. I think I still enjoy Raoden's chapters the most, just because him building something in this very desolate place is very interesting to follow, and he does have to do a lot of like political maneuvering, so he can get everyone on his side basically. And I think that's just such an interesting setup, especially because we have this people who they are hungry but they don't need the food, so it's such an interesting concept to think about. And he's also starting to uncover some secrets that might eventually tell us what happened to Elantris. So I'm very intrigued to see where that goes. And I just really like the characters that we get in Elantris. And I also really still like Serene's chapters. I think they've grown on me even more. Again, we have a lot of like political maneuvering because she is trying to save this country from the like invaders that haven't shown up yet, basically, which sounds weird, but if you read the book, you'll understand. So she has to be very clever as well, choose her allies wisely and stuff like that. So I'm really enjoying that as well. And I just really like her portrayal as a woman who is not very attractive to men, and how that doesn't hold her back in a way, but still hurts her. So I really like that perspective as well. I thought it was very insightful. And then we still have the priest chapters, and those I struggle with a little bit because we have one of his like underlings who is very clearly striving for power, and we can see how hard it is to keep that person in check. So I am interested to see where that goes, but it could lead to big disaster as well. So that's always a little bit of a struggle to follow along, kind of like watching a slow motion train wreck, I would say. So still really enjoying it, would still recommend it. I think that the only thing I don't really like is the portrayal of characters that are from other countries. So we do have two countries. One is more like Asian inspired and one is more Africa inspired, I would say. I could be wrong with that, to be honest, but that's just the vibe I'm getting. And with both of these, we do have characters, and I like the characters. I like how they are in this world, but just some of the comments about them, you can feel that they're made to be exotic a little bit. And you could argue that in a more like medieval kind of society, that is just the way it would be, but it still feels kind of uncomfortable in some instances. And similarly, some of these characters do have accents in the graphic audiobook that I know some people just don't like that. I found them to be okay. I haven't heard all of them, to be honest, but I haven't heard one that I thought was like super offensive. So that's just something to keep in mind, that that's probably not dealt with in a like super amazing way, but I can kind of look over it because I still like the characters, and I feel like the characters are not themselves caricatures, if you know what I mean. So that's my reading so far. I'm gonna continue on. I hope I will make it to the 3/4 landmark today. I'll try my best with the fluffy cat, and then I'll update you again.
Better. Can you repeat the website? I think it's Stationary Pal. Nala, let me check.
So I'm now 3/4 into Elantris. It is the last day of the year. I'm always cutting my reading goals very close, but I am positive I will finish the book today. Now, I'm really enjoying this book. We are getting to the point where things are moving more quickly now, and this cat. And it's definitely looking like the villainous characters are having the upper hand right now, but I am pretty sure that the cat will start eating my cookies in a second, and that our characters will get things turned around now. But the intrigue is so high. We still have no idea how the magic really works, so I'm definitely interested to see what will happen there. And our like two characters that are basically married but have never met each other, they do meet, and so I like this whole thing. Like, I do enjoy the way this is playing out, and I'm really intrigued how this will all end. I'm definitely having so much fun reading this book, and again, I want to recommend the graphic audiobook because I used it yesterday while cleaning, and that helped me kind of catch up that I wasn't quite making my goal. So it is really fun. It is a little bit of a struggle to always find the point where I'm at when I switch between the ebook and the graphic audiobook, because the graphic audiobook doesn't have the chapters, but it is really fun to listen to it. And so now it is time to finish this story, and then I will give you my final verdict. But I'm predicting right now that it will end up being a 4.5 stars. So I finished reading Elantris yesterday, just in time for New Year's Eve. And I really enjoyed this book. So I'm here to let you know that my first Brandon Sanderson was quite the success. There were still a few things that bothered me a little bit, and I've talked about some of them already. One thing I wanted to mention is that both of our main characters feel like, well, the female character feels like not like other girls a little bit, but that didn't bother me so much. But then the male character also feels very much like not like other men. And Brandon Sanderson, in his little afterword thing, even mentions that he wanted to write a character that was very different from the other fantasy main character tropes, like the brooding guys with the dark pasts and stuff. So I did enjoy that, but sometimes it got a little bit out of hand. Like, sometimes Rayoden got a little bit too good to be true. Like, if you deal with men in your life, maybe you know what I mean. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it. There is definitely some discussions to be had about the depiction of chronic pain in this book, because the overall message is kind of like, well, if you get something to do, it's not that bad. And while that can be true to a certain amount, as someone with chronic migraines, I would say this can also be very dangerous, because when I get a migraine attack, I can sometimes work through it in a way, or keep working, keep being productive, but that usually means I'm dragging out the pain and that it will last longer, just until I finally take the time to rest. So obviously there is some problematic elements to that, but then it is a fantasy world, so I always hope that people see that not everything that happens in fantasy is actually real. There is also a little bit of a magic healing at the end, so just keep that in mind if you want to read this book and these are topics that you're interested in. Now, apart from that, I thought that the ending was just very tense. It was so like fascinating, but also you could really feel the stakes, and yeah, it was really good. Like, I was turning the pages, I couldn't stop reading, and that is exactly what I wanted to feel with my last like real read of the year. So that was just so exciting, and I'm now even more intrigued to read more of his books because I think the like whole ending thing is something that Brandon Sanderson is also famous for. So I'm intrigued to see how that works with other books of his as well. But overall, I just can say that this was very successful. If I haven't said it already, I gave it 4.5 stars, and I can't wait to read Mistborn now. So that is all I could hope for, to be honest. And that's all I'm gonna say for the spoiler-free part. I think I will try to go into a few spoilers, but not too many. So if you have not read the book, then now would be a good moment to click out of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I can welcome you back soon with a new reading vlog. But if you have read the book, let's just discuss for a second. So there were a couple of twists and turns at the end that I wanted to talk about. So first of all, like the big elephant in the room is the thing that was actually going on with the magic. And I don't know how I feel about it, because we do have the whole like thing with the magic coming from the land, and then the kind of chasm that happened that created kind of a rift. I don't know if these are the correct words. And because of that, the like aeons, the like symbols weren't correct anymore. And on the one hand, I think that is a very interesting idea, but on the other hand, it doesn't give you any explanation. Like, was this just random? Where did the chasm come from? Was it just, you know, the earth being like, I'm gonna do that today? Like, the answer isn't really an answer in the end, so I thought that was quite interesting, and I always feel a little bit meh about those kind of solutions. And then obviously we have the whole thing, they start adding that to the aeons, but it's still not quite working, and so our main character has to figure out that it's actually also the shape of the city, that is a big aeon as well, and so he has to add in the chasm there as well. And I don't know how I felt about that. It felt a bit funny to me. I think it's just, you know, a thing that probably happens when you're writing like your debut novel, that some of these things might sound good in your head, but when you start thinking about it a little bit more, it's like, what? Just draw the chasm in the mud with the stick after they had to build everything else with walls? I don't understand. So I don't know how I felt about that, and I also feel like we don't really have any answers about this magic, which is interesting because I think, if I remember correctly, that people talk about Brandon Sanderson a lot with his hard magic systems, and this doesn't really feel like that because so much is still just a big question mark. And similarly with these monks that we see at the end, so they are using the same kind of magic but in a completely different way. And is that also connected to the land or differently? We don't know. There's no answer to that, just big question marks, but it's interesting. So I was really surprised because I thought that the like conclusions we get at the end concerning the magic would still be a little bit firmer, but on the other hand, why not? It kept me intrigued and it was still a satisfying ending, but I just thought that was interesting because I expected something different. And then we do have the whole like it's a trope I actually really like, but I think it was done very poorly in here. And that is when someone who is very religious starts falling for someone who does not believe the religion at all. So here we have the priest character, Raven, and our female main character, Serene. And so he starts falling for her, but I've seen this done so much better with like the internal dialogue and stuff. I feel like this is very left field here. It just appears right at the end of the book. He's like, why am I jealous of her loving that other dude? And I'm like, yeah, I have no idea. Where did that come from? So I thought it would have been, there was potential for it to be great, but the execution just didn't work for me, unfortunately. And so also him sacrificing himself at the end and all of that, it just felt a little bit too big for the like feelings we got before that. So that was a little bit sad. I think that the romance between Raoden and Serene was quite cute, but also not like super convincing to me. It's not like an OTP. And that has to do with the fact that they're both like not like other girls / men. So I feel like because of that, it just felt a little bit magical and rainbows and not like a real relationship, I guess. But yeah, apart from that, I really liked it. I think the one thing that I'm still so confused about is the whole reasoning behind the evil monk. So we do get this revelation at the end that the guy that our priest character thought was just like one random person in his faith, that he's actually like a very powerful monk leading person. Like, what are they called? I don't know. And the revelation that his like lover was the woman who first died in that weird way from the aeons being incorrect. I think I don't know. It just didn't work. It did not work for me. I was like, okay, random, but okay. And that's why he hates the Elantrians. I just felt like his whole like religious argument made so much more sense. Just being this fervent believer and wanting to destroy everything who doesn't have the same faith as you just seemed more realistic to me than randomly my wife died because you couldn't heal her because you don't know what you're doing. But maybe it isn't. I don't know. But that was just such a random thing. And then again, I feel like the connection between her case, her medical case, and then what was happening to Elantris and the Elantrians, the connection was never really made. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't add up. So I feel like this was a good book, but I still had a couple of things where when I'm thinking about it too long, I just get confused. So I'm gonna stop thinking about it now. I really enjoyed it still. I would love to hear what you thought of the book, because I could say this going very differently as well for some people. So let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!